of Gabby Petito could put out there. And then one question that probably will end up on the cutting room floor, asked by our photographer Gordon Dempsey. Good question, but you know, there's been a lot of criticism aimed at police in Moab. Why didn't they do more?
We've had that question.
But the point would be, what more could have they done? These are 22 and 23-year-olds. You're not going to call the parents. You're not going. You separated them for one day. How long can you legally separate them for? And so the point there would be, it would almost be impossible to connect them with facts to what they're.
Hey. All right, so I'm actually doing my makeup, but instead of me watching it alone, I figured I might as well stream it. I don't know if you guys knew what was going on, so if you're new to my channel, welcome. If you're a returning subscriber, welcome back. I'll be on for about an hour. I had no idea what was going on until I got out of a shower, I sat down, I was like, holy shit. I didn't know what was going on, so I figured I might as well run it with you guys together. So I'm going to bow out, hear what he's got to say. I'll pop in periodically. But that's why I'm live.
Revealing injustices in the world as far as what goes on here in the Tampa Bay area, what goes on here in Florida, what impacts the people that, of course, watch us here on WFLA Now. He is one of the best as far as correcting wrongs in the universe. Senior investigator here with us at WFLA News Channel 8. We're going to take some more hashtag HeyJB, hashtag HeyWalt comments here in just a moment. We have been talking about Eagle 8 HD's Paul Lamison. We had a flight earlier on WFLA.com and the WFLA app. We were live from Eagle 8 HD and showing you some of the search area. That's the video that you're looking at now. A short time ago, Paul was in the air and he filed a report for us to share a little bit about what he's been seeing from the sky as far as Carlton Reserve here in Florida, as far as the area that we're looking at here near Venice, Florida. So we're going to bring in Eagle 8 HD's Paul Lamison, and we'll continue taking your hashtag HJB comments and questions here momentarily here live on WFLA Now. Hey there, Paul.
Hey, JB, we are over the Carlton Reserve, and you're looking at what it's called a swamp buggy. And the name says it all. It's a buggy that can go through a lot deeper swamp than a regular SUV. We see law enforcement on this driving through this area of the Carlton Reserve as they keep moving through. They've been through some deeper water. It looks like right now they're going to go kind of off into a deeper area. Now watch how this thing can work. Look at this thing. It can just go through the deepest tree-lined areas. This thing's kind of cool to watch as it just goes over top of trees.
All right, not for nothing, but that looks like cool as shit to be on. So they also said that it's been proven that Gabby and Brian had a fight on the 27th, but it looks like she was spotted. She was seen on the 27th at a restaurant. So that's pretty much the latest. I don't know why they're so focused in this area. There's got to be a reason why they're so focused in this area. But to be honest with you, I just think his parents got him out a long time ago. Hey, Sierra, and welcome to Kiki. I think his parents removed him. I think this is totally I don't know. Like I said, I'm not smarter than the FBI at all. But I just don't believe he's here. I think his parents got him out a long time ago. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they got some kind of reason they're here. But that thing looks cool. Time on the last fight seen on the 27th was around 1. Hey, Firewalk. But at least she was seen on the 27th. So that's kind of a good thing. Come on, who wouldn't want to be on that? I would totally be on that in like 2 seconds. I'm like, I want to go on that boat. You can't get eaten by crocodiles, nothing. Do they think he's dead? Like, I wish they would give us something. Do you think he's dead? Do you think he's alive? Do you not know? They are just set on this area. just because his car was there. And unless there's cell phone tings or something. But I don't know. I just have a feeling he's not there. I have a feeling that's a total decoy to another area. Yeah, but he may not be dead on purpose. He could have gotten eaten by an alligator. We don't know. Not me. I would need a chiropractor after that. That looks like fun, though. It really does. I would do it. All right, let's listen in.
TFR, a temporary flight restriction, up to 400 feet, so drones are not able to fly except law enforcement drones. And so we're above 400. We're flying about 1,000 feet right now. But again, watching this thing, it's just amazing what kind of areas they can make it through as they just crash right over trees, right through water, and make it through as they penetrate the deepest areas of this Carlton Reserve. And look at this thing just go. It's right over the trees and through the scrub and through the swamp cabbage, the palm trees, the little things in here. And I'll move out and just show you how wide and where they are. They're out in this area where it'd be hard to get to by walking, by ATV, but this is the area they want to search, JB. They want to know that nothing's out here. They want to say they covered every inch of this reserve, and that's what they're doing now, driving this thing through. And we haven't seen them find anything. And after they finished the search last night, the Northport Police Department told us they haven't found anything of note, nothing to lead them to believe or do anything to take them one step closer, but they continue to search. And now today we're watching them, and they're in a heavily wooded area back here, so we'll keep watching them, JB. But right now it's just kind of neat to watch this thing go through this area as they continue the search in the Carlton Reserve. And again, I'm going to move the camera out wide and show you kind of where they are. I mean, they're out in the middle of it. They're just really crushing through. And this is an area that would be tough to get out walking, and they can use this vehicle to make it through some of the heavily vegetated, swampy areas as they just push their way through to get through. There goes another tree. And they're going right through, and as they continue to search this area of the Carlton Reserve. So JB, this search has been going on for a few hours now. They had their meeting earlier at the command center. Now they have people all out in different directions. We've seen them going in different areas today than they were.
I don't know. The news is like pretty set on just showing this. But Brian Laundrie's parents were escorted out by police. Thank you, Kim. Brian's mom did not work for the DA. That is a rumor. There's also a rumor that he flew home. A lot of people are saying that is not true. It's like some news reporters are saying it and other news reporters are saying it didn't happen. So nobody knows if it's true or not. We believe it started as a rumor, and that's all it is a rumor. There's no proof that Brian flew home. From what I'm seeing. And thank you so much, Kim. Yeah, it's not true. She didn't work for the DA. But I want to drive that thing too. That thing looks awesome. Why did the police believe... Jolene, I'm feeling the exact same way. I do not understand that he flew home, Anastasia. I said that we can't get full confirmation. I've heard some places say it is true. I've heard some places say it's not true. We cannot seem to get confirmation fully. So, he's gone. See, I think the same thing. I don't think he's out here. But there has to be a reason why the police are scouring this from top to bottom. But I agree with you. I think he's long somewhere else. I don't think he's there. I think his parents gave him a huge head start. As far as a money trail, that I personally would have no way to know. but they're using Godiva dogs, they're using everything, and they have found so far almost nothing. So that tells me he's probably not there. But, all right, let's listen in.
Officer for the city of Northport Police Department is saying. Josh Taylor writing, good afternoon. Below is a link to video from the active search for Brian Laundrie in the Carlton on Thursday. Lot of questions about the swamp buggies. There are 4 out today. Drone provided by the Florida Highway Patrol. Sound is with Commander Joe Fussell, or Fusel, excuse me. We have around 75 personnel from 65 different agencies on the ground Thursday. We plan to search throughout the day. Friday is to be determined. Again, this is an FBI-led criminal investigation, and Northport Police are assisting our federal partner in any way we can to bring this investigation to a close. And then it goes on to talk about, of course, I'll read this. We join the FBI in asking for continued public assistance by sharing any information through the tip lines. 1-800-CALL-FBI or tips.fbi.gov. So that's the latest that we just got in here. The big things to take away here for you folks are we have 75 personnel from 16 different agencies on the ground, that they're going to continue the search throughout today, and that Friday is TBD, to be determined, Josh. And I would imagine that it's very likely that the search continues tomorrow here, Josh. But that's interesting. Interesting little
interesting way to put it. That's the first we've heard of a possibility they may not search at this point. I mean, obviously they started the search, they called it off, they brought it back, and they've been going every day since. That was the first indication we've heard that it's to be determined, so they're not sure if they're going to do it or not. That begs the question to wonder if they have any new information. If they had a strong enough information, they would be out of there right away, because you saw that buggy video just a minute ago. That's incredible how deep they're going into this, into this reserve and into this swamp. So to hear that is interesting, but we can't look too far into it. I'm sure they will be back tomorrow. A couple developments today that you've been touching on. Obviously, the family, the parents were spotted today leaving the house this morning at 8:15. You talked about that a little earlier. And returned with the Mustang that was taken into evidence on Monday afternoon. That was towed away, the vehicle, and brought back to the house. So that's what's going on at the residence at this time, or earlier this morning. Throughout the day, some spottings of the parents. Obviously, they're still there at the house. And the Mustang is now back in the driveway, I believe. Yeah, as we were showing you earlier, folks, the Mustang is in the driveway. I don't have a live feed to show you at the moment, but if I do, of course, I'll bring it to you here live on WFLA Now. As we're continuing to look here at some of the video from Eagle 8 HD and Paul Lamison. Thanks to Paul for filing that report in his flight that we had here a short time ago from Carlton Reserve there. And again, follow him on Eagle 8 HD on Twitter and on Instagram, and you can use hashtag #HeyPaul. We'll
Hold on a second. So they only took the Mustang in for 2 days? And that's it? So they're done with it? They could bring it back to the house? The parents can take it somewhere and drive away with it? This makes no sense to me. That was his car. Why wouldn't they keep it in custody? This gets weirder by the moment. If that is his car, they would take it and keep it in custody and hold it. But his parents could go get it and then drive away. This doesn't make any sense.
As when they left the house this morning, I'm talking about Brian Laundrie's parents there, so it could have been a police escort. Of course, we refer to it as a police escort because it didn't seem as if that there was anything to believe that it was anything other than a police escort. Could it have been just police tailing them? Could it have been absolutely nothing and purely procedural as far as getting the vehicles back into the driveway? We really we don't know why the Laundrie parents left at the time and had a cop car, go and leave the house with them.
Hey, maybe they wiretapped it. Maybe they wiretapped the car and that's all they were doing, was wiretapping it. And they wiretapped the house. That would be a smart thing to do.
In a situation like this, I mean, it's not too uncommon for the police to have, some representative with them, not only to see what they're doing or to follow them, but also maybe for their safety, because any member of the media could eventually start to tail them and start questioning them at different places at any given time throughout the day. So I don't think that's very uncommon at all.
Let's get to some more questions and comments here. Allie, thanks a lot for yours. Summer Wall, hashtag HeyJB. It wouldn't be that difficult going anywhere if he was wearing a mask. Yeah, we talked about this the other day. The COVID twist to this story is that Brian, if he needed something from Walmart, he could go in there with a hat, sunglasses, and a mask on. And Josh, you wouldn't know if he was Josh Benson, JB Buno, or Brian Laundrie, really.
Right.
I mean, of course, we have more hair on our heads than Brian Laundrie is believed to have. We had a barber comment on our stream yesterday, or it was 2 days ago. Might have been 2 days ago. The days are blurring together. But a barber commenting here. I was talking about, I don't know about your hair. My hair grows very quickly. It grows fast.
I've seen the JB big hair.
Yeah, that sometimes
I get the same way. I mean, it's thick and it just goes nuts.
Yeah, it can go nuts really quick. But I was asking to anybody because the description for Brian Laundrie is so crucially important, and it's possible now that he's no longer has a completely shaved head, that he has maybe some hair on his head.
Mm-hmm.
And a barber said that in a 4 to 6 week period for the average man, hair can grow about 1/4 of an inch, which to me didn't sound like a lot and still doesn't sound like a lot, but there could be more hair on his head than what we saw a month ago from all the YouTube and all of the Twitter or Instagram and Facebook videos and pictures that they posted on their van life trip.
Right. And, appearance is so important. Even when we saw the trail cam video, we were looking very closely at, could this be the person? Could this be Brian? You're taking a look at the appearance, the backpack, all these small details. But yes, I mean, if you change your appearance or attempt to change your appearance, that may throw off the trail for some people. But yeah, to grow your hair is a lot harder than to shave it off.
Yeah,
so.
No, it is. So again, that was a great comment, and I'm the worst person to ask as far as how quickly hair grows for the average man, because my hair grows very, very quickly. So let's get to this comment here.
I have a quick one before we get to the next one.
Sure, yeah.
Have you guys talked much about the personnel and the agencies? We just got that Northport police update saying they have about 75 personnel from 16 different agencies. Remember the governor 2 days ago, I think it was 2 days ago, maybe yesterday, came out and say he is offering up as many resources necessary from the state to help in this search. I'm curious as to know, has the resource amount climbed that dramatically in the last day or two from what they started with? 16 different agencies sounds like a lot more than they had. So I'm just wondering if the governor coming out saying something like that would have changed the way this search has been conducted. And maybe you don't know. I think that's a good question to ask
I've asked
for
that
reporters
question
on the ground
multiple times to try to find out if that tweet, again, the governor of Florida, Ron DeSantis, announcing that if there's any state agencies under his purview or any state resources under his purview, that they would be dedicated for justice for Gabby. We've been asking if any of those, was that tweet just just a tweet, or was it actually was there actually some assistance that was provided as a result of that direction from the governor's office? And we don't know at this time as to whether or not there was additional resources poured in at the direction of our governor here, Governor Ron DeSantis here in Florida. But it's a great point, Josh. I mean, a great point, and I've been asking that question here multiple times here. Let's get to some more questions and comments here. Kelly and Chris Weaver, hashtag AJB. Is this live footage of them searching, or is this recorded from earlier? This right here in the center of your screen is earlier from Eagle 8 HD. I've heard maybe, and we might find out here, is if Eagle 8 HD is going to go back up live as far as combing through some of the area here, and no one's better than Paul Lamison as far as being able to talk, control the camera
at the same time.
Yeah, he does. He is the true multitasker. And so if we hear anything about Eagle 8 HD's Paul Lamison being back in the sky here, we'll of course bring it to you live.
I'm fascinated by this thing. Look at that they're driving through here.
It is. It's mesmerizing.
And how do you? We were just talking about what happens if this thing gets stuck. Can it get stuck? I mean, if you hit a pot of water that's 20 feet deep, I just wonder how it must float. I'm just so fascinated by this machine that they're driving, the buggy.
Yeah, I'm too. and it looks like something out of a war documentary.
Yeah.
I've been calling it. Paul called it a swamp buggy. To me, it's like a tank. I mean,
Yeah.
this thing can go over anything.
There's like 6 people on it too. Wow.
We saw it earlier mow down a tree. A tree was in their way, and they said, "All right, well, we're not going to navigate around the tree.
take it down.
Let's just go right over it." I think
That's
it's
wild.
well. See, look at that right there.
So
You
that
see
email that just came out, they said they had 4 of those, right? Mm-hmm. 4 of the buggies. Wow.
4 of these combing through the area. I wonder how much sound it emits.
Yeah. I mean, I got to believe a lot.
A lot, because if all right,
It's a lot of power.
if Brian Laundrie is here and he is alive, does he hear it coming?
Right.
Okay. Is it just me, or does anybody else find it, I don't want to say comical because that's a bad word, but does anyone else find it interesting that a 23-year-old kid can evade all of these people? The 16 different agencies, 75 different FBI agents, whatever it is. Hey, Cork. And a 23-year-old kid who's never had a criminal record cannot be found. I find that so interesting. It's mind-blowing how this kid can't be found. And especially if he is found in this area, it's almost impressive. For lack of a better way to say it, it's almost impressive that a 23-year-old kid with no criminal record can get away with all of this. It's mind-blowing. I don't believe that, John. That's a rumor. It's not him. It's all bullshit. Just like the Instagram that he went live, total bullshit.
I'm assuming it already is, but how do you change that search now from somewhere you think you know where somebody is to now you have no idea, and you need everybody in the country to keep their eyes peeled?
Why don't you take this one that just came in moments ago? I told folks that we'd sprinkle in some new comments here. Why don't you take this one, Josh? From Amber Roberts, #AJB, #AJosh. Could they still be searching there because a dog caught his scent? And how long would his scent, stay? #Justice for Gabby.
Yeah, and I think that's a great question, because with several different dogs, cadaver dogs or search dogs, some of these dogs are specialized in taking a scent of clothing or whatnot and then utilizing that to try to find this missing person. In the event, sometimes one dog may hit and the other may not. This was the case on an investigation I've been following with a missing anchor woman for years. They searched a silo for her earlier back in 1995, and one of the cadaver dogs hit and the other one did not. So they obviously kept up the search for a while longer, because for one dog to actually hit is a very interesting point. They want to make sure that the scent might have been just a little bit off for the one dog, but the one dog did hit on something. It's not foolproof. I mean, there's
The Instagram account was not his account. It was a fake account. It was proven this morning. I heard it when I dropped Phoenix off. It was already proven to be fake.
nation that, hey, this is enough. We're done.
And again, with evidence that they have in their possession, that could be aiding dogs. I've been saying it. I'll say it again. I've been saying it every day this.
Another thing they said also is that they were talking about solar batteries, and depending on what kind of phone he has, it could be a solo battery. It could be a solo battery that he's using to charge his phone, because they were saying, well, where would he have a battery from and everything else? And I think it's iPhone that you can get a solar battery from. His parents flipping houses, I heard that's a rumor too. And they're not snowbirds either. They live here full time. Carlos, I don't watch Rich Life. I don't care.
That are out here. So let's, to Josh's point, can we see any dogs on any of these vehicles? Here we are in some more dense wooded area here, and is that a buggy there? I think it is. We'll wait for Eagle 8 HD to kind of come around here, and we'll get a better look and see if we see a dog here with this particular crew. Again, this is not live. This is a little bit earlier on today. Doesn't appear to be that I see any dogs here. And they would be on the ground. I don't know necessarily if they would be on the swamp buggies all that much. I mean, yes, you have to move them from place to place, but you would imagine they'd really be on the ground trying to pick up the scent rather than on the buggy itself.
But the sheer, just the sheer volume and the location, 25,000 acres. That's such a job for them, and I can't believe that they're tackling this, but they have to. I mean, that's what they went out to do, and it's good to see the agencies are increasing. I think the help is coming out now. They said 75 personnel from 16 different agencies on the ground Thursday, and tomorrow, as we mentioned, to be determined.
Let's get to some more questions and comments here in the Facebook Live, YouTube Live, Twitter comment sections here live on WFLA Now. And do we have, no, you're good? Okay, just checking to see if there's any potential updates here. We'll come back here. Josh is talking to a member of our team here. Let's go to some more questions and comments here. I'll just take this one from Julie. Hashtag HJB, have you heard about a TikTok video showing another sighting of a possible Brian in Canada? And Julie, I haven't. And again, with Brian having such a common description, I would imagine that there's potential sightings all over the place. But Canada, I think, not to discredit that completely, but that would be highly unlikely, given, of course, how far Canada is away from Florida. But I would imagine that there's a lot of potential and possible Brian Laundrie sightings everywhere because he's got a shaved head. He's he's got a relatively average build or, an average height. His appearance, sometimes he's got scruffy hair, sometimes he's got scruffy facial hair, sometimes he's clean shaven, sometimes he's got groomed facial hair. There's a lot of different appearances that he has used, but it's not all that uncommon for the average male. I haven't heard, to answer your question, Julie, but if we hear anything credible, we'll pass it along here to you. That's what we do. We separate fact from fiction here on WFLA Now. Josh, everything checking in?
Sorry, just going through some technical stuff here.
You got it? All right.
A nerd alert over here. So
you bet. Chime in when you can. I'll take this next one here from...
I'm back.
Okay. From Jamie Lynn Diaz. Hashtag HJB, do you believe he crossed the border before officials knew he was missing? There's a sizable amount of the comments here coming in that are theorizing, and again, baselessly theorizing, just because they don't have the evidence or potential evidence that the FBI and PPD has, but theorizing out there that Brian's no longer in this country.
Wait, have you thought, and let's think about that. Let's talk about the fact that if you were a person who was in this scenario and you decided to leave, and maybe let's say you said, all right, I'm going to go to the park, and you never did. You never went to the reserve. With so much technology, so many people out there, and so many targets on your back from people that are looking for you, how do you escape, especially in a country like this? They can catch you on traffic cameras. If you can't really go to the airport, can't board a plane. Vehicles that you own will be scrutinized. You'd have to have a friend's vehicle. Well, then those would be scrutinized. Like, how would you get around? How would you travel? I think those are the questions we have to begin with to see if it's even possible or plausible that it could get away undetected.
Yep.
And so I know a lot of people online are talking about that and trying to figure it out because there's so many sleuths out there who's trying to figure out the direct path, which way he would go here. But, all they are going off of right now, as far as I understand, is that he said he was going to go to this reserve. The parents picked up the vehicle from the reserve, so that drives them to that area. And unless there's something else in the investigation we don't know about, which I'm hoping so, because that would point to the fact that they're still spending so much time and energy in this reserve, I'm assuming they know more than we do. Usually they do when it comes to an investigation, but that's why they're still there.
Yeah, and there's, again, likely a whole lot of evidence and knowledge, and that is exclusive to the FBI as far as...
All right, I'm going to call this out first. I don't know if anyone else has said it, but I'm going to call this out first. This is an ego thing for the FBI. This is not all about Gabby. They don't have 17 departments looking because they care about Gabby so much, because there's a lot of kids missing. There's a lot of young people missing that they don't do anything close to this for. This is an ego. They said they knew where he was Then they realized they didn't know where he was, and now they are determined to find him. And I'm very surprised that nobody else has called that out. I understand why people are getting frustrated that, there's a lot of missing people and they're not looking for them like this, but this is like over the top looking, that they have spent so much time and money and everything into finding him. Tell me another case they did. I don't think they spent this much manpower looking for Bundy or Jeffrey Dahmer or anybody. Like the biggest series, they didn't spend this much manpower looking for fucking John Gacy or Charles Manson. But they're doing it for her. This tells me it's an ego thing. They can't be wrong. They can't possibly be wrong. And they know who they're looking for. True. But show me another missing persons case they ever looked this hard. No. Yeah, someone that hasn't even been charged yet. Exactly. People that escape from jail, they don't look this hard. This is an ego thing. I know it's all over the world, but I'm telling you, this is an ego thing. They want to find him, yes. But I'm telling you, it's an ego thing. The FBI will not be wrong. They have to find him. They have to prove that they knew where he was. I'm telling you, it's an ego thing. They did fuck up big time.
Earlier, and you can follow me on Instagram and throw some comments there on my WFLAJB Instagram account, but we're going to stay here focused on the 3 social media platforms that we're currently live on. And of course, to our audience here watching, you're also watching on WFLA.com and the WFLA app. Michelle Parks, hashtag HJB, hashtag HeyWalt. Are there rock, and Walt was on earlier, are there rock formations out there? I know they said that 75% is underwater, but what is out there that he could be resting on? I would imagine that this area is, resting on. That's interesting.
Well,
because
there is camping in this park. I finally found out. My wife actually sent me information about that. She's a former producer, so she's obviously digging on this as well. But there is places you can go camp in this reserve. But again, I think they would have taken care of that first day. Any of the places that are easy to go hang out in, they would have done that.
And I think that we talked about too, Josh, also that you would go to the obvious places as far as, a source of water, source of drinking water, a place that maybe is near the fringe of the reserve where you could dip in and out to civilization as far as going to like your CVS or your local, convenience store or Walgreens or Walmart or to pick up something that you need. And again, we talked about the scenario of putting on your hat.
Anastasia, I agree with you, but think of it like this, okay? Think of it like this. They're spending all of this manpower. What if he didn't do it? What if, because we don't have a full autopsy back yet, they don't have his fingerprints because he's never been arrested. So let's say she was strangled. Let's go with an obvious. She was strangled. If she was strangled, handprints would be there. They have no way to know his fingerprints or his handprints because they don't have it. They don't have his handprints. He's never been arrested. They don't have his fingerprints. So they don't know if it's his hands that were wrapped around her neck. No. I'm saying just as an example. They don't know if it was his hands wrapped around her neck because they have nothing to compare it to. So if you think, Brady, I'm going on what you can prove, not what we think. So are they even looking for possible other people? Brady, it doesn't matter. You of all people, I'm surprised they're thinking like this. Can we say Brendan Dassey again? Let me remind you of Brendan Dassey, Brady. I'm very surprised you of all people said that. You can't convict somebody before there's proof. You just can't. It could be a gunshot. I don't know. I'm just saying. If there was a gunshot, I don't think forensics would be back already to know what gun it came from. But I'm just saying, we can't rule him definitively. Like, it goes back to, this is an ego thing. Yeah, we need proof. There's no proof it was him. At least we don't know yet. Do I believe it was him? Of course I believe it's him. Of course I think it's him. But there's no proof it's him yet. And they're spending an awful lot of manpower for someone that has no proof yet. Just saying.
She popped up, she jumped on my back, and we walked out of the woods. One of the coolest moments of my life. But
And then Josh got the anchor job at WFLA
Yeah, that
News
was
Channel
it.
8 in Tampa, Florida.
no, but it was one of those things where you think about where could she be so far off? She could be in another state. But ironically, a lot of searches end right where kind of they begin, and maybe it's overlooked. Now in this case, it's different. She was special needs, and she didn't know where she was. Brian Laundrie is obviously a very big person of interest and skilled at being out in nature, as far as we know. So it just brings back the idea of where should this search continue? Should it kind of circle back to the main parts, or do we have to be off to the races in other states, sending out alerts around the country to figure out where this guy could be?
So to translate what Josh is saying here as far as that story is, maybe he's not as far away as you think he is.
And I've heard a lot of people talk about that, especially a lot of former law enforcement saying, hey, don't think too big, because sometimes they're a lot closer than you think.
Interesting.
And it could be in the same neighborhood. It could be in the same reserve. It could be.
The farther you go away from home, the less certain you are of where you are and where you should and should not be.
Correct. So I just ask to keep that in mind, because everybody's in so many different directions. But when this does end, it'll be interesting to see where they do find him.
Right on cue here, Amber Sepulvado here, #KJB, #KWalt. Do they have police set up at all exit points of the reserve here? Here's one of those intersections here where traffic would go in and out, as we understand it. And do they have police set up at every exit point of the reserve? I don't know if every exit point. I mean, can you cover you can't form a perimeter around the entire place, but as far
Tracy, that's exactly right. I'm just saying, when you walk into a courtroom as a juror, the special needs had nothing to do. He was talking about another case. When you go into a jury, when you're in a jury, okay, you cannot think that you know the case, even if you know it. You can't be tainted by what you think. It has to go by fact. The facts here, we don't know any facts yet. Is it true the cops won't tell us anything? Yes, that is true. Do we know cops lied? Absolutely, cops lied. But I find it very interesting how many people have Brian hung already. Brian could be panicked because he came back, she was dead, and he didn't know what to do. Is it likely? No. Is it likely that he did it? Yeah. But this case is worldwide, and anybody could get called on jury. You can't convict somebody before you have evidence and proof. The cops fucked up. They fucked up big time. But hey Reagan, you just can't convict somebody before there's evidence or before you hear all the evidence, because we don't know.
Area of the reserve and that area of the reserve, they're really honed in. If you look at the entire map of the reserve, you can see their search efforts is really focused on one area. It's like shaped like a potato. It's like this. It's like a big oval. And I know that a potato and an oval, it's more of a potato-shaped search area right now. And they're focusing on this area because they have to have something that leads them to believe that this is the most likely area where Brian could be based on what they have at the time. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if they know if there's any degree of certainty behind that, but we have to go with based on what we're seeing here, and they're committing a sizable amount of resources to that area. Oh man. This is a really good comment here from Katie, Josh. We're talking about the swamp buggies.
I think they're cool.
They are cool, but they're big and they're powerful and they cover a whole lot of terrain as they wheel through the reserve. And Katie here is asking, and we have been talking about all the scenarios. We were talking yesterday about scenario A is that he's found alive, and scenario B is that he's found not alive. And Katie here asking, hashtag KJB, if they're just crashing over everything, how do they know that they're not crushing over his body? And again, as a reminder, we got to stay rooted in reality. We don't have any information that leads us to believe that Brian Laundrie is deceased or not alive at this time. I think that there's, of course, been a lot of people talking online as to whether or not we were talking about his mental state and whether or not he would do something to harm himself. And there have been mental health experts that have chimed in on this portion of the conversation.
Anastasia, I totally agree with you. But throughout history, there has been a lot of people that get scared and run when they actually didn't do it. You just don't know. Stranger things have happened. Crazier scenarios have happened. Again, is it likely? No. Is it likely that he did it? No. Is it possible? I mean, is it likely that he didn't do it? No, most likely he did do it. But you can't rule out other scenarios unless you have proof. Hence why 20,000 people who are innocent are sitting behind bars.
I think that's more of an issue on the trail and near the actual paths like that you're seeing right now, out in the open and out. The probability of that happening is very small, but I mean, it's a legit question.
It is.
What are your options? I mean, you have to get in there to at least try to visually see something.
The swamp buggies are huge.
Or the dogs have to smell something.
Right.
So without even being close, I mean, that's a risk they're willing to take.
Heather Bailey saying that the vehicle is amphibious, but all swamp buggies may not be amphibious. Thank you so much. Amber Jean Roberts. We brought up this comment here earlier about the scent. How about this one from Donna Marie Brandt here, catching up on some. Now we're getting to new comments, brand new comments. So, folks, this is kind of a last call, if you will. Not a last call, but a mass last call here for your hashtag HeyJB, hashtag HeyJosh comments here. File them in there in Facebook and Twitter and YouTube. Use those hashtags, and we can animate your comment on screen. If you don't want us to animate your comment on screen, just don't use the hashtag, and let your comment go by.
X-Files from there?
I can.
Because we just got the video from Northport if you want to play that.
Let's do that.
But we can answer this question. Hey, JB, have they come across any other hikers, campers while searching? That's a good question. Not that I have heard. Have you?
I'm sorry.
Any campers, have they mentioned they've come across anybody? They did mention that there was a death a mile away that wasn't related. That's the only thing I've heard of.
I've only heard of the one death, a self-inflicted death that they confirmed very quickly that was not Brian Laundrie, and that was something that they discovered here as they were combing through the Carlton Reserve here. Right. Yeah, I think that the video is being loaded right now, new video of the search efforts here. So as we're calling for our last commenters here to join us with comments and questions, we'll play back this video here in just a moment, and then what we'll do. Okay. Let's bring in the video now.
Yeah,
and then
3 minutes, 3-minute video.
Yeah, we're gonna play back the video, and while we play it back, we're gonna listen in and watch for more of your hashtag HeyJB, hashtag HeyJosh comments here. I'm just waiting for it to load. Progress bar going across the screen here. Waiting. Well, in the meantime, I think what I can do is I can bring in this video. We're going to see a lot of this video here in just a second, but we're going to bring in the Thursday search video here now. Loading. We do it all here, folks. It's a lot of multitasking, but we do it all. Okay, here we go. Loading this now in the center of your screen, and here it is. This is now today's search. See if we can bring up some of the audio here. Oh, there's no audio underneath this, but we're going to have audio here in a moment. So you're looking here at more drones that are in the sky, and looking here at the search area here, and looking here at several of the vehicles and several of the search teams that have been working tirelessly. There's the swamp buggy, and you see how large they are here. Here you see them moving along a power line. This allows them to get deeper and deeper into the Carlton Reserve here. Okay, so this is what it's like being on it. A bumpy ride. There's a ride at Disney World that feels just like this as far as this movement, this movement right here. And that's what it feels like, clearly, based on this video here. And just, yeah, wow, look at them just bumping over.
Is there a dog on there? I was trying to see earlier if they had the dog. Maybe we'll see it.
Yep, see how they're
But it does give you a really heads up view of your surroundings. It's so tall.
Yep.
That is pretty cool. But boy, is that bumpy. You're going to have whiplash all day after riding for a couple hours.
You need the chiropractor. You need a massage therapist. Man, and look at again, it's just how dense it is. This is from Northport Police short time ago when we have the interview here loaded up.
And think of the wildlife out there, too. You scare each other when you're out there. The snake is out there. You don't know where you're walking. You got to be really careful.
A lot of commenters joining us here. Everybody on WFLA now. YouTube's the hardest because the comments scroll through so quickly. Let's see here.
There's a drone.
Yeah, there you go. The drone in the sky. Look at that. This is new. Brand new video.
That's great.
And back to the beginning of the video now, and we'll let it play out here again for those of you just joining us here. This has been a big question from Katie. Katie, I won't butcher your last name, Katie. I'm just going to say Katie, hashtag HJB, hashtag HeyJosh. Did the cops... What's that now?
Gallegos.
Gallegos. I think that's right. I think you're spot on. Hashtag HeyJB, hashtag HeyJosh. Did the cops actually have eyes on him at home? We know the vehicle came into Florida, but did they actually physically see him? This has been a big question.
Yeah.
And we just know from the Thursday press conference from Chief Todd Garrison, Chief of Police of Northport Police,
that he knew where he was.
We know where he is.
And the interview with the neighbors that everybody's talking about that we saw earlier claimed that they saw him with his mom riding bikes, mowing the grass, and they went on a camping trip. I'm assuming you've talked about that a lot today.
Yeah, we have. And there's just been, a lot of talk about that camper and about the 3-day trip with the camper. And it is based on what the information that we have here and what we have been following here in the story. It is believed that Brian returned home with the van, but then we don't know what happened to Brian once the van was returned here to Northport, Florida. We'll bring... this is a great question here, too, from Jonathan Ritter here in the Facebook Live comment section. We've been talking about all the different treacherous obstacles that you could encounter while out here. And Jonathan Ritter, hashtag HeyJB, if he was ever there, what's to say an animal or a reptile didn't find him first? And we've been talking about now gators, snakes, panthers.
But that's why dogs are good. Because if there's any... scent, they're going to pick up on it.
And panther attacks are rare. Coyote attacks are rare here in Florida. Gator attacks, of course, we talk about on the news more than you wish we did.
There's a lot of stuff that could kill you in Florida, though.
There is.
No doubt.
No doubt about it.
A lot of wildlife that I don't ever want to come into contact with.
No, I don't mind not being out in areas like this in the vast wilderness because you just don't know what is in that dense vast wilderness here.
It would be interesting to find out, though, how much ground they have covered. I hope they put that in one of their updates, just because I keep thinking of the comment about tomorrow that it's to be determined if they're going to continue the search. So it would be nice to try to get you guys an update on how much has been covered, how much ground.
Tony Zito, hashtag HJB, are there a lot of gators in that area? I would assume so, and the answer is yes, a lot of gators. And here's the thing. Especially earlier in the week, probably less so now. When we had all that rainfall earlier in the week, it was way more swampy, and the waterways had swelled in Carlton Reserve, and there's more accessibility for a gator. Not to say that the gator can't get out of the water. Of course, gator can get out of the water, but it's just more likely that they are going to. More likely that gators, they have a larger area to swim when there's a tremendous amount of rainfall in some of the areas that are very, very swampy here. The water, the vast areas of just sparse water that's out here in Carlton Reserve. So look at it. That's what I'm talking about right there. So it's there's a lot of gators in the area, and it's definitely part of the obstacle obstacle list that we've been talking about here. Take some more here. We're wrapping up here, everybody. Just the last few questions and comments we're going to get to here. And there have been hundreds, thousands of your hashtag comments here. We cannot get to them all. We always ask that you join us on future WFLA Now live streams, and we try to get to as many as we can. I look for new names. I don't ever want to repeat somebody because we know that we have so many comments that we've missed from original commenters. But it can be extremely difficult to get to a lot of these comments and questions that are coming in.
A lot of people are talking about the parents today too. I know on my Twitter feed, a lot of people are asking questions about, where did they go this morning? They were gone for quite a while. Curious to know if they went to the police station. So Brian Enton from Nexstar Nation was out there, said he went live, and they had someone go by the police station and did not see the truck there, but 2 unmarked cars did follow them when they left. So just wondering, why. Obviously, in your hold up in your house, you probably want to get out, but I don't know how badly they want to get out with the media standing right outside their doorway, essentially, or their yard. But it's interesting to know they were gone for a little bit today, and where did they go?
Let's take this one here from Terry Andrew, hashtag HJB. Is there going to be any live updates to let us know what's going on? We're live here to tell you that there isn't much to update you on, quite frankly, Terry. And if there is an update to share, we just, 30 minutes ago, not even, that we were live with the Joshua Taylor update, and that is an update, talking about how Friday's plan is still uncertain at this time, and there's 75 personnel, 16 different agencies, 4 swamp buggies out there right now. So that is the update, and there's not many other updates to report here at this time.
I do want to mention, since we were talking about News Nation, Nexstar is our parent company. They will be doing a special tonight at 9 o'clock. I know Brian Enton had mentioned that they're putting together a special at 9 p.m. Eastern. So if you want to watch that and don't know where to find it on cable or don't have it, you can go to newsnationnow.com/Gabby, and you can watch it there at 9 o'clock tonight. So they're putting a special together, and I'm sure a lot of the content that we have and that we've put together will be a part of that special. So something to check out tonight that will give you kind of an all-encompassing look as to where we are in the case and where we go from here.
Felicia Maddox, hashtag HeyJB, hashtag HeyJosh. Do they know if he returned from the camping trip with his parents? This is a still image here of the camper that we're talking about here. Let's talk about the camper here for a moment. We haven't talked about the camper in about an hour and a half now. That's how long we've been live on stream here. The camper was part of a Fox News interview last night. And again, the Guthries, a family that lives on the same block, really right there with the Laundrie family, said that Brian had returned home, in the van. They just didn't think all that much of it. And it was about a week to a week and a half later. So somewhere in, we've been looking at a calendar, somewhere in that, perhaps that September 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th range there, that the Guthries were, again, this is according to the neighbors who spoke to Fox News, saying that they saw the family, that being the Laundrie parents and Brian Laundrie, leave with this camper, the pickup truck towing this camper, and leaving for a period of 3 days. Now, do they know, to Felicia's comment here, do they know if he returned from the camping trip with his parents? And that wasn't articulated in the interview as I watched it. I've watched it multiple times now. It wasn't articulated in the interview, Josh. So we don't know, but they could have gone and Brian came back. But I think that a lot of people feel, and again, this is people just reading between the lines here. There are a lot of people that feel that they went on this trip with this camper, that 3 left, and 2 came back.
What's interesting, too, about that I've learned is that we have a reporter out there who actually went, Brian from Nexstar Nation, News Nation, went there and talked to those neighbors prior to the interview they gave to Fox, and they made no mention of the fact that they went on a camping trip. So I find that very interesting. In the days before Fox's interview came out, that they would have interviewed, we would have interviewed the neighbors, and they didn't bring that up.
Here's the thing, though. Do you know what the number one most unreliable source is? I'll give you one guess. One guess. The most unreliable source is eyewitness testimony. So that's fact. So the fact that they are using this, like those 2 people, the neighbors, the older neighbors, as end all be all, I think is wrong. because we don't actually know what they actually saw. And eyewitnesses could be totally wrong. They usually are. So I'm not putting much into that credibility at all. They are definitely not the end all be all. I promise.
And we had a big tent, and she let us set up just outside of her front porch. And I asked her, do you know much about these parents or much about this family? She's like, no, we don't know them at all. I mean, they live right across the street. So I find it interesting that, some neighbors are pretty close, seem to know what they're about, who they are. Other neighbors, not so much. So yeah, it's just a stranger dynamic out there, and now inundated with media and onlookers as they watch every move that these parents now make.
Nicole Allen, #HJB, #HJosh, have any of Brian's friends spoken on his behalf, and who wrote the note on the car? And of course, the note that of course Nicole is referring to, the family of Brian Laundrie finding a note that was left on his car in Florida that, according to the attorney, and we don't know who wrote the note, but that's another curious piece here, folks, that we don't know too much about that note and what it led investigators to believe, but that's another piece. And this is, again, why there are true crime aficionados that are out there that are following this. We're talking about pieces like clues, like the note, like the Mustang, like the camper, like the van that came back here, like the backpack that he is said to have had. All of these things now, people are trying to piece this together. You, Josh, we're talking about online sleuthing here, so this is what we're talking about. People trying to piece this together, and we are doing the same here, but we are staying rooted in fact and telling you what is and isn't true, and we don't know the contents of the note, we don't know the author of that note, and we don't know what it led investigators to believe once it was discovered.
I have Dave on my Twitter feed asking if the search being classified as TBD for tomorrow, wondering if that could be weather related as to why it's being classified as TBD. We don't know. Dave, I think it's a good question because it's the first, we have heard that there may or may not be a search tomorrow. If there's no search tomorrow, that's going to be very interesting.
I have a hard time believing it's weather related, because weather really can move in and out very quickly in Tampa Bay. And
they're prepared for that. I mean, they're prepared to get totally drenched and have lightning in the area, so they probably have a plan in place for that.
Sure, and lightning is a threat when you're talking about an area like this. You don't want to be out in a super vast area when a lightning storm arrives or when the severe thunderstorms arrive. Josh brings up a great point there, but weather comes and goes pretty quickly here in the Tampa Bay area, and unless it's a deluge out there, it's very hard for us to believe that a day in advance they would say that the search on Friday is TBD because of maybe some weather rolling through the area. But we'll ask the Max Defender 8 weather team here as well. Folks, we are gonna, of course, hop off stream. We've been live here now almost 2.5 hours. I'd really like to thank Allison Henning, Walt Buteau, our senior investigator, and Josh Benson. Before we wrap up here, Josh, we'll continue to monitor some of the social media activity coming our way, and I'll talk about my accounts here in just a second. Where can folks that want to get a hold of you, where can they follow you? And of course, tell us what you're going to be monitoring here in the hours ahead.
Yeah, sorry, I just got an email about a statement from the Moab Police Department I want to read.
Okay.
Yeah, did you see that?
We can stay with you live here for another moment.
No,
let's look at it.
Yeah, it's not an email directly to me. I just want to make sure it's talking about unaware of any breach of the police department policy during an incident. However, the city will conduct a formal investigation, and based on the results, will take any next steps that may be appropriate. Looks like it's a dispute. Moab City Police Department has clear standards for officer conduct during a possible domestic dispute, and our officers are trained to follow these standards and protocols. Okay, this could be in reaction to pulling over the two and the events that happened during the body cam video. So we'll look at that more, and I will post an update on Twitter if it deems necessary. And sorry about that interruption there.
And where can they follow you, Josh? Here,
Twitter is where I'm posting everything right now. Twitter.com/WFLA Josh. Everything that's coming in, I'm trying to get turned around there as quickly as possible, including video and images and any new developments that we get from our side.
Josh Benson, you'll see him on the anchor desk tonight on WFLA News Channel 8. Of course, here, your NBC station 8 on your side here in Tampa Bay, Florida. Josh, thanks a lot for joining us.
Good to join you.
All right, everybody, we're bringing a temporary end to our coverage here for you on WFLA Now. You can, of course, I don't ever step away from your comments and what you have to say here on this story. When I tell you.
All right, that was actually pretty good timing because I just got done with my makeup, even though it shouldn't have taken me an hour. But now I have 10 minutes to get dressed and get out of here and take Phoenix to physical therapy. So I'll probably be live again when I'm sitting there waiting for physical therapy, and then we could talk more because I know I didn't talk too much. But yeah, I got a lot of things to say. I just don't have time now, so give me about an hour, and I will see you guys in an hour from the car. Peace. And thank you guys for the super chats. Very much appreciated. Bye. I'll see you guys in a little while.